Hi there. It's another episode of WFAN Daily with your host, Pete Hoffman, and it is freezing outside. So I am still cold. It was 12 degrees, I think it was, when I got in my car this morning, and I am still freezing. So that's what's going on here in New York. Now, what else is going on in New York? The Mets made a trade for Luis Robert Jr., and I have never been a Luis Robert Jr. fan. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to sit here and wax poetic about how David Stearns just stole one of the greatest center fielders of all time out in from Chicago White Sox. That's not the case. I'm not feeling that whatsoever. So here's the deal. What to me is a bigger issue. Not that Stearns is not cementing this offseason to make it look like his own, because that's what he's doing. That is exactly what David Stearns has done. He knew his job was on the line. Let's put it this way. Let's rewind again. The quick offseason moves, losing Pete Alonso, moving on from Brandon Nimmo, saying goodbye to Jeff McNeil, the Edwin Diaz we all know is a mistake, but changing the outlook of this team. He knew losing last season, not making the playoffs, he had to do something drastic, because after a season where he put all those, everything into the pitching that he did, which was nothing, all that experimenting in the pitching, it was almost like he sabotaged himself to set himself up for justifying why he had to change the core of this team. Whether you're happy about it or not, it's what he did. And now you add Luis Robert Jr. to a team with Jorge Polanco, Marcus Semien, and Bo Bichette. I mean, he's made moves. He has made moves. Is it what Mets fans are ecstatic about? Are they happy about it? No, but he's made moves. He's made this into a David Stearns team. Again, you can always follow me at Hoff WFAN if you haven't done it already. Please like, subscribe, all that other good stuff. So the move was made last night, and I apologize. I was sleeping. I have the shift change and Evan's shift change. We plan on doing different podcasts at certain times. So if you were looking for a Rico Bronya late last night or something last night, we were both sleeping. At least I was. I got a text at like 12:19, but I think he was like in and out, so that's just behind the scenes. That being said, we did one this morning, so if you want to Rico Bronya, we did one this morning. Also, right now, if you're listening live, this is live on WFAN as well, as Evan and Tiki are doing their breakdown of this as well. They did this at 10 o'clock, so I thought 11 o'clock was a good time just to hop on and give my piece still while I'm freezing. But am I shocked by the news? No. Am I disappointed that Luisangel Acuna was put in this offer for Luis Robert Jr.? No, I'm not. I mean, we've established that Luisangel was never really going to get the playing time needed here, especially with the addition of Bo Bichette and Marcus Semien. Like, even if Bo Bichette's a year-to-year player, Luisangel is never going to see the light of day on a regular basis. Maybe outfield, but with Luis Robert Jr., that negates that too. So the subtraction of Luisangel and whoever Truman Pauly is, it doesn't really hurt me, and I don't think it will come back and bite the Mets at all either. Luisangel, unfortunately, was never this guy that was a significant bat. He was just a really good defensive second baseman, a really good base runner. So those were the assets that really attracted you to Luisangel. But the bat hadn't really shown anything. And now, listen, you could also sit there and say that Acuna started to dip as soon as Jeff McNeil came back. That's part of it. No one's gonna question that or doubt that. But the fact is, he didn't have a role on this team. Even if you wanted to do like a super utility guy with him in the infield and potentially in the outfield to give spells here and there, his role was very minuscule at best. Luis Robert Jr., the addition is more of another test for David Stearns. Is he smarter than the average bear? Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Because you look at the moves he's made there, it's a low cost move as far as trade. What you had to give up in a trade wasn't a lot of assets. The money, $20 million. I mean, it's not terrible. That's basically what Trent Grisham's getting with the Yankees, and a lot of people are upset by that because what has Trent Grisham ever done? Well, he did last year. He had 30 home runs. Well, Luis Robert Jr. has come close to that at least once. He's had one season of really significant numbers. He's had a really good input for 1 year, but that's it, and that's where the concern lies. Can he become, or can he, at whatever age he is right now, he's not very old, he is 28. Can he, at 28 years old, with the Mets, find his way back to that season in 2023 where he had 38 home runs, 80 RBI, batting average of 264, which was whatever, but the OPS at 857, 20 stolen bases, 36 doubles. Can we find a way to get that? He was even got MVP votes. He got 12 MVP. He was in the 12th place in the MVP vote. He was a all-star. He was a Silver Slugger, and that was 2023. It's not that far removed. That was 2 years ago. Can they find a way to get that out of Luis Robert Jr. with the Mets? You put him in a different environment. He's not in a dumpster diver or Chicago White Sox team. So you got to hope that maybe with this new ball club, playing next to Juan Soto, who's a workhorse, playing next to Bo Bichette, who is a workhorse, and Marcus Semien, who's a leader. And I think that Francisco Lindor is a leader too. I've seen Francisco Lindor over the years take the time to go out there and teach Mark Vientos and Brett Beatty how to play the infield. So I think that Francisco Lindor is a leader as well. You know, Jorge Polanco, I think, is a professional player. Whether or not we think that he's replacing Pete Alonso, not happening, but he's a professional ball player. So can the professionals kind of wrap themselves around Luis Robert Jr. and say, listen, this is how we do it here. This is how you're going to be better. And hopefully that's the case. That's what you have to hope for. Because if not, if these, I don't want to say guesses, but these moves that David Stearns has put in this offseason in 2026 backfire like the pitching did last year, it's a long season again. And David Stearns doesn't have much time left with the New York Mets, if that's the case. Because when you let Pete Alonso leave, when you screw up with Edwin Diaz, the Nimmo and the McNeil thing, I'm not even going to kill him so much. I'm like, okay, fine. You know, you felt like the need was there to move on from those guys. You traded for them, whatever. Traded them away. I'm not even going to fight you on it because I was on the same page with you on that. But if you make these moves to let Pete Alonso walk and you screw up with Edwin Diaz and you still haven't pitched a starting pitching after last year's debacle, to bring in a question mark in Luis Robert Jr., to make a desperation move for Bo Bichette, to bring in the Marcus Semiens and the Jorge Polancos of the world, if it doesn't work out, David Stearns is not going to be here long-term with the Mets. So I give him credit. I give David Stearns a ton of credit. He has made and transitioned the Mets into a team he's wanted to build. He did it. Am I happy with the moves? I'm not. I'm not going to sit there and say that I agree with all the moves he's made, with how he went about this offseason. I'm not going to agree with it. But he has now transitioned, and I got to give him the benefit of the doubt because this is what he wanted from jump. He wanted to create the Mets into a team that he could say this is a David Stearns team. And it now looks like a David Stearns team. And we will have to wait and see to find out if this is a team that can actually compete in 2026, because that's what it's about. It's not about Oh, good. We got the flashy player. We got Juan Soto. We got Bo Bichette. The Mets are great because they got two great players. It's not about that. Francisco Lindor. It's not about that. It is about getting to the playoffs every year. It's about being competitive every year. It's about fighting for a World Series every year. It's about competing with the Dodgers every year. And right now, the Mets team, the way they're consistent, you could tell me that Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto and Bo Bichette are three of the better players in baseball, and they can go up against any three other top players on any other team. Maybe I'll grant you. Yeah, I think they can do that. I think, even the Dodgers, those three versus the top three with the Dodgers, maybe not, because you're thinking Mookie Betts, you're thinking, Shohei Ohtani, you're thinking Freddie Freeman, or whoever else you want to throw in there, Kyle Tucker, whatever the case is. I'm probably going to still lean the Dodgers because Shohei Ohtani outdoes those three guys anyway. But that being said, the roster is still a complete fall off from Lindor, Soto, and Bichette. I don't care that Polanco's on this team. I don't care that Simeon's on this team. I don't care that Luis Robert Jr. is on this team. None of those guys have proven to me that they are star-studded players, that they are all-star caliber, that they are MVP caliber. You're talking about Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, all former MVP candidates. I think they've all won an MVP. If I'm not correct, I think Freddie Freeman's won at least one. Kyle Tucker, I think he's got some votes out there. He never won one before. But if you look at those players, they're star-studded at every level with the Dodgers. The Mets are not. And here's the biggest gripe I have. After all this is said and done, you're finally building this team. Okay. Who's pitching? Who's pitching? I don't know. We're going to sit there and say David Peterson, run it back. Sean Manaea, run it back. Kodai Senga, run it back. Nolan McClain, yes, we're going to run that back. We're all very happy with that. Tyler McGill, run it back. Jonah Tong, run it back. I mean, what are we doing? It's the same. Sorry, forgot. Clay Holmes, run it back. Because that experiment worked out. We figured out our fifth starter. I mean, come on, David. Just let's try to figure this out a little bit sooner with the pitching staff. Let's make some ballsy moves. I know that Evan's been going for Lucas Giolito. I am a Zach Gallen fan. I think that he has a lot of upside. I know Lucas Giolito might have pitched more innings over the past few years. I know Zach Gallen had surgery not too long ago. He had a bad season last year. I'm not going to deny that. But he has pitched better over his career. He's been one of the better pitchers. So I think Zach Gallen's still a guy you can get on the cheap and bring him in and help him help with his pitching staff. But if you are going that route of like cheap starting pitchers for a year or two, I mean, that's what you're going to do. Lucas Giolito, Zach Gallen, those are the type of guys you're going to get. You're not going to make a trade for Alcantara. You're not going to make a trade for Skubal. You're not going to make a trade for Joe Ryan. It's going to be those type of moves. And, right now the Mets are showing the willingness to go and spend on a 1 or 2 year deal and not a long term. And I think Gallen and Giolito are those type of guys that are going to give you 1 or 2 years, and they'll sign that. Framber Valdez is looking for a 5-year deal. The Mets are not going to go for him. Even if he drops down to 3 years, I don't think the Mets are going to go for him unless they have the opt-out in the first or second year. And again, is there a qualifying offer attached to Framber Valdez? If so, they're definitely not touching him. All right. I will be back with Craig and C-Mac, the Carton Show, at 2 o'clock if you're listening to this right now live. If not, enjoy it, and I will see you guys later. There will be a John Anik interview dropping shortly. John Anik is does play-by-play for UFC, which is now on Paramount Plus, and their first event on Paramount Plus is this Saturday, UFC 324 on Paramount Plus. I'm looking forward to it. I spoke to Anik last week. It's great interview, great fun, and I'm looking forward to to watch in the event as Paramount Plus takes over for ESPN. I mean, listen, ESPN had a good run with it, but I'm looking forward to what Paramount Plus is going to do. Thank you again for listening to another episode of WFAN Daily. I am your host, Pete Hoffman. You can always follow me at Hoff on social media, whether that's X, TikTok, Instagram, all that good stuff and more. And as always, you can check me out on Saturday mornings, either midnight to 5 or 2 to 5, hosting on WFAN, the Rico Bronya podcast, and of course, like I said, Monday to Friday, the Craig Carton Show, 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And also SNY has us on the same days, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Thank you very much for listening. And for all you Mets fans, there's still an offseason. Oh, by the way, the Yankees still didn't get Cody Bellinger, but good luck, because you definitely need something to take place to give you a little positivity. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Peace.